Welcome to Cisco Live TV studio. Here we are at Cisco Live. It's extremely exciting here. There's so much energy from everyone around. And I'm pleased to have Didi Dasgupta here with me. He's a Vice President of Marketing for Data Center here at Cisco. Didi, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I've got a few questions to you about, well, our latest innovation in data center, of course. And we've just heard, David Geckler's keynote, and he did mention ACI Anywhere. Could you explain more about that?
Absolutely. So, look, every data center or cloud on this planet was built for one reason, which is to run applications. And the hard choice our customers have to make today is keeping the applications on their data center or moving them to the cloud. Well, that's the innovation we've come out with, that customers do not need to make that choice. There's a single bridge that connects their existing data centers to any cloud, and not just one. It's Amazon, it's Azure, it's any cloud. And that's the big innovation, a single network that connects all of these locations.
Sounds great, because this is exactly what my customers want, right? They don't want to think of where my workloads are, it's just like anywhere.
That's right.
And in terms of kind of segmentation, so ACI's brought our customers pretty far, right? So they can basically extend all these policies now to the cloud without anything else.
Absolutely. Look, what's happening is data is getting distributed more than ever before. Data is the oxygen that feeds the applications, and applications are getting distributed. But again, you still need to maintain that single policy, that consistent security strategy. And whether your workload is on data center or in the cloud, and that's what ACI helps customers do.
Nice. This sounds amazing. I think it's a really big deal for our customers.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. So could you comment more on what you were saying, like kind of decentralizing that data? That's an interesting thing, right? Because I think that this is what we see now, right? Because we just heard Liz also talk about the IoT strategies. Right. So, as we go into more and more of Internet of Things, would data centers stay as we know it, or what's going to be in the future? What's your vision on it?
That's right. So, in the past, all the data was in one location. It was a centralized location. That's why we gave it a name, data center.
Exactly.
Right? But that world has changed, because today there's data on your watch, on your laptop, on your toaster, in your refrigerator. It's there in the sensor in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, so data is everywhere. And where data goes, applications go. And where data and applications go, infrastructure needs to follow. And so the whole concept of data centers changing. In fact, there's nothing centered about data center anymore, right? And that's why we announced this whole vision and innovation around data center everywhere. We brought it to life with technologies like ACI Anywhere and HyperFlex Anywhere.
So it's like data anywhere. That's
data anywhere,
what we can call
data center anywhere.
Nice. So what are the biggest challenges you see our customers face in data center?
So, like I said, one of the biggest challenges they had was whether to keep the applications in their data center or move it to the cloud. And there was a hard choice, right? Because they've been used to keeping everything on-prem, buying all the equipment, training all the staff. But when you go to a cloud, you lose all that visibility, you lose all that control. So what technologies like ACI Anywhere, like HyperFlex Anywhere are doing is they're bringing the simplicity and the agility of a public cloud, but with the control and security that the customers are familiar with and are used to on their on-premise data centers. So it's kind of best of both worlds.
Sounds great. And is there some kind of a step-by-step guidance that Cisco can provide to our customers in their data center strategy?
Absolutely. Look, I hate telling customers what their journey needs to be, but there's three big pillars of adoption of this technology. The first one is automation, right? You have to simplify, you have to automate, okay? That's the step number one. Step number two is around multi-cloud, which is the flexibility of going not just to a single cloud, but any cloud. And good multi-cloud starts at home. It's with your own data center. It's with your own private cloud.
I love that. I love that comment.
Right,
it starts at home, indeed.
Yes, that's right. So good multi-cloud starts at home, but then you should be able to connect to any cloud. Not just Amazon, not just Azure, but any cloud, so that the customers have that flexibility and choice. And step three, something that keeps us all up at night, security. And security is not just in one location, in one data center, in one branch. It's everywhere, all the way to the edge, into the data center, and into multiple clouds.
And it's the same level of security that you would want to provide, right? Anywhere the data resides.
You cannot compromise on security. So those are the three steps.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, thank you, Dudi, so much. I'm really pleased to have you here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
And now we've got Rob back out there. So Rob, over to you.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much, guys. So yeah, we're talking data center technologies, and if you guys get a chance, in the world of solutions, if you come in and just take a hard right, you're going to see this virtual area where HyperFlex is giving you some new experiences, which actually is a good thing to remember when it comes to how HyperFlex is making a lot of experiences a lot easier. Todd, you and I have been friends for so long.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I've so enjoyed learning from you and your team. I depend on you quite a bit for this kind of stuff because we're working on new HyperFlex stories for what I do for Cisco. I wonder if you could fill me in, give me the cheat sheet of what do we expect right now with HyperFlex? Where have we been? How are we changing? And what can we learn here in the booth?
You bet. So now it's about HyperFlex Anywhere. You heard in the keynote this morning, right? We're taking the data center where the data is. And only Cisco can do this, right? You saw everything about ACI Anywhere. So it's about taking the fabric, the policy out to these remote sites. And it's all about new sources of computing demand, right? So think about a retail environment, think about manufacturing. There's all these things going on where you've got data being generated, consumed, analyzed outside the traditional data center. So it's kind of scary for me. I've had data center in my title in some way, shape, or form for 20 years, but the data center is no longer centered, right? So we got to take computing and storage equation, put it out in the right scale at these remote locations, and that's HyperFlex Anywhere. So, yeah.
So I wonder if you could explain a little bit, just in case anybody's confused about what's happening in the background, because I'm a little bit worried that we're standing in a dangerous area, because these guys I don't think are looking at reality as it involves you and I. Yeah. They're looking at some other version of reality, perhaps. Can you explain what you guys are using virtual reality here to explain concepts, perhaps?
Well, so here's an example where we've got HyperFlex out in the wild, right? Yeah, so there's a 4-node cluster of HyperFlex. These guys are using it. We've actually got some NVIDIA GPUs in the back here, and it's powering this VR experience, and you can just see the latency. It's just reduced dramatically, really smooth, right? So it's all about putting computing where you need that experience. You can't have this running back in some core data center somewhere and try and push that data back and forth. You've got to have it here on the floor. So here's HyperFlex out in the wild, kind of bringing that to life.
Well, that's so nice. Here, we'll stand back up because I know if your knees are anything like mine, it's not going to last very long. Okay, so really it's about reducing the latency and such here. So you mentioned the NVIDIA GPUs that we've got inside these here. That's an amazing amount of compute power. Then we're really pushing on the graphics side with HyperFlex, making that easier?
Yeah, I mean, this is literally, our strategy is put your data center wherever you need it, right? So this kind of horsepower used to be restricted really to those big glass house data centers. But with our data center strategy, we're basically saying, look, let's put your data center at 1,000 places at once, but manage it all like it's under one roof. That's what we're doing here. ACI Anywhere, HyperFlex Anywhere.
So when we talk about specific customers and how HyperFlex is changing how they're able to interoperate, I know I've had the pleasure of meeting with customers that you guys have introduced me to, and I remember one in particular just talking about how it was one of the few technologies, we often don't get the chance to implement a technology where end users actually notice a big change, and they were coming and they were hugging their IT person, expressing physical gratification for the ease of use that they were experiencing because it was giving them back productivity during their day. I assume, are you guys still kind of collecting stories and putting those up on the wall?
I've got a great one. So we've got a company called Exmar, a customer rather. David here's in the show with us, and they're using Cisco Intersight to put these hyperconverged clusters all around the world. They deal in the energy sector. They support 1,500 ships at sea, moving energy products all over the world, and they run payroll, and it's very complex because they've got sailors under all these different flags, right? And the payroll, used to run at the end of the month. IT guy deploys HyperFlex, gets a call from the guy who runs finance, says, hey, what happened over the weekend? Yeah. Our payroll just ran 2-3 times faster than it usually did. What did you do? So those are and everybody likes getting paid quicker, obviously. So yeah, there's lots of examples like that where you modernize the data center, you go faster, easier to operate, and with HyperFlex Anywhere, we're letting them push that out wherever they want to manage it from.
Gotcha. Okay, and I want to bring in we've got about 2 more minutes left, okay. And I hope I didn't tell you this in advance, and so I hope you're comfortable with it. But in general, for anyone in our audience that's not familiar, for whatever reason, they've not quite made that change in their head to understand what hyperconvergence is really doing. Because our twist on hyperconvergence is a bit unique. We're doing some things different than others. I wonder if you could give me an explanation of what hyperconvergence is and why HyperFlex has been such a boon for customers and their productivity.
I'm really glad you asked me that. So we're doing two basic things that are very different, right? If you look at the early hyperconverged solutions, a lot of them were software only, and customers were left with the challenge, okay, how do I create a network that can support this kind of cluster traffic? And how do I, what kind of server do I want to put it on? So what we did is we came in and said, look, let's put the whole solution together, and we already had UCS, right? So this is a fabric enabled and optimized computing system. We put a great file system on top of it to create a hyperconverged solution, and it's really the holy trinity of compute, network, and storage, all in one tight little package, right? So the first thing is we brought everything to the party that Cisco can bring, particularly the networking. Second thing we did about a year and a half ago, you might recall we did Cisco Intersight, and that's our cloud-based systems management platform. You heard Roland talk about it, Katie talk about it in the keynote, and the demo they showed there is basically take your computer, it's almost like Meraki, right? So for this audience, computing, we're not exactly famous for computing here at Cisco, but we are famous for networking, and Meraki is a great example of this kind of cloud-managed infrastructure where you connect devices to the cloud anywhere, and then the administrator can connect to that cloud, administrate it from the couch, from the beach, from the data center, wherever. So that's the second big thing. We're the only ones that have this type of cloud-powered systems management, and it just makes it easy to take your data center anywhere. That's it.
Now that is awesome, Todd. Now thank you so much. You know what HyperFlex has done for me is I, as a wannabe technologist, a lot of people think I'm an engineer. I'm not an engineer. I'm learning as fast as I can from guys like you and from members of your team. But one of the things I love about it is you made storage approachable for me, and those technologies just became so much easier because we removed all the complex language and the pre-decisions and design work and such like this, and that allowed not just myself for understanding it, but then the people that I get to talk to are telling me, hey, this allows us to focus on things that are more important.
Exactly.
You know, and that's but guys, thank you so much. Todd, it's always a pleasure working with you. Thank you. Guys, come check out this booth. I think you get to try on these things yourself. You get to try this stuff on and play with some virtual reality, which is much better than reality. But with that, let's go back to the studio.
Reality. I think you just coined a new term for us here on the show floor. Thank you, Rob Boyd. Great interview with Todd Brannon, our Senior Director of Product Marketing for Unified Computing. What Rob just showed you here in the broadcast is exactly why it is so imperative that you get here to the event. If you want to talk data center and the latest in HyperFlex Anywhere, in Intersight, in hyperconvergence, and HCI capabilities, extending, simplifying these capabilities all the way to the core and out to the edge, you got to do it here at the show, so we welcome you to be a part of it. And right now, we are headed very quickly into the first of our 11 innovation showcases here at Cisco Live 2019 Barcelona with Roland Acra, our Senior VP and GM of our Data Center Business Group. We heard from Roland in this great opening keynote, Egonim, talking about data center capabilities as well, applications running out to the business, a better experience for the customer, more seamless multi-cloud mobility capabilities, pervasive security. What did you hear about data center, and what are we going to hear about here in the Innovation Showcase?
Wow, what excited me the most, I think, from Roland's Acra speech right now at the opening keynote was really ACI Anywhere, because, like, to my customers, that just hits exactly what they wanted, you know? They love ACI, they find it amazing, all the segmentation, security, everything embedded, zero trust security and so on. But then it's like, can I have that, but then in a public cloud environment, right? And now we can actually do that, right? So I think it's really big news for us.
It is. One of the best things that I heard in that keynote, one of the things that Dave Geckler said was that entire industries are changing as we bring IP to places that have never had it before. IoT is a big part of that. We did start with ACI, we moved to Network Assurance Engine, to wireless analytics, and all of a sudden, guess what we're looking to now? The data center. The data center is what's going to bring us WAN security, not just from a SaaS perspective, but full integration throughout the whole infrastructure, and thinking about how it affects the entire live network. We're going to head into that innovation showcase right now. Very excited. We'll see you on the backside. Enjoy.